I know that for the most part, I have earned a reputation for gaining weight. Um, but the truth is that I did. I went from 220 to 242 to 275 to 308 to super heavy every year. I gained weight. But every year I did that, so that means I also had to go back down and start over at 220. So I know a couple things about losing weight as well. And for some reason, that just isn't as interesting to people. So I don't have the reputation for that. But I know a lot of people do care about losing weight. And so I'm going to give you a short, simple tip. And I'll give you the rationale for why you should do it if you're trying to cut weight and lose body fat, or just get down to another class, or just be healthy and lose a few extra pounds of adipose that you just don't need anymore. So no matter what reason you're dieting, and irregardless of how far you have to go, this is worth doing. Now it's more important the more pounds you want to lose, because it has to do with metabolism. But you could lose 10 pounds with just some restriction and a little bit of discipline, and just stopping the overeating that most Americans do. And so this tip sort of kicks in a little bit later when the pounds start to shed and you want to lose a little more and a little more. But I usually start it right away. There's no reason not to. It's all good, and you should use it. You could use it no matter what kind of a diet you're on. So here's the tip. The tip is to eat copious amounts of fibrous vegetables every day. So fiber, broccoli, cauliflower, lettuce, etc. Not starchy vegetables, no corn, beans, yams, none of that stuff. The fiber stuff, the green leafies, the stuff that everybody, including your mother and all your doctors and everybody that knows anything about health, tells you to eat a lot of anyway, and that we probably don't. So the reason that you want to eat a lot, and I'll define a lot at the end, the reason that you want to eat a lot of roughage, fiber, is there's more than one reason. One reason is that when you cut weight and when you decrease the amount of calories and food that you eat, you start to send the body into starvation mode. And that is going to decrease your metabolism. So if you starve and you shut off the valve of food coming in, the body shuts down the metabolism. Everybody knows that. And so this is one way to keep eating. The goal here is to stimulate the metabolism to run. And what I mean by metabolism is, if you eat paper, that's the same as eating lettuce. It really is. It's plant fiber. Now, we can't digest the fiber, but the fiber is carbohydrate. The difference is glucose molecules linked with a beta-1,4 linkage or a beta-1,6 linkage. We have the amylase to digest one of them, but horses have the enzyme to digest both. So they can eat hay and grass, and they can run miles and miles on that. And if we ate grass, it would just pass through us. It would just be roughage to us. It would be calories just like carbs to a horse. And it's just a matter of the digestive enzyme that unlocks those glucose molecules in the starchy chains. So putting food in the system and having it pass through, in our case, undigestible fiber, which is carbohydrate that we can't unlock, the body's still going to try to unlock it. It's still going to secrete enzymes. It's still going to work on it. And quite frankly, your alimentary canal from your mouth to your anus is just an open tube. It's like a straw that's open on both ends, but it's all twisted around. And something has to work it through. Something has to get the food from here out the other end, digested or not. In this case, it's not going to be digested, so it gives us no calories, but we got to push it through. We got to push that fiber all the way through us, attempting, our body's trying to get the calories unlocked from it, but it can't. So it comes out the other end undigested as fiber. And that process of peristalsis, of the muscles that surround your gut and your intestine, are going to work that and squeeze all that fiber through the system. They work it through the system, pushing it down. That keeps your metabolic rate higher than if you shut it down. If you eat nothing, then all those muscles that surround your alimentary canal that do the squeezing and pushing, they just lay dormant because you haven't eaten anything. So they're not flexing. They're not using energy to contract and to push something through. So literally, the more fiber you eat, the more you increase the metabolism of those muscles. You increase the activity of pushing that food that you can't get any calories out the other end, just as if it was food that you were going to try to get energy from. So that's very valuable. On one hand, if you don't eat anything, you shut that all down. That all goes quiet. Those muscles that surround smooth muscle, not skeletal muscle, but it still contracts. Smooth muscle that surrounds the gut and squishes all that food that, in this case, it's chyme, partially digested food, from one end to the other. It goes silent. It does nothing. It lays still. But those muscles, we can make them work all day long if we eat stuff all day long. And by stuff, I mean fiber that doesn't give us any calories. So it's going to work all day long because we're going to eat fibrous vegetables all day long. We're going to continually keep our metabolism, our core metabolism, our deep metabolism up by keeping it active. We're going to make it work. You could, I suppose, eat paper and do the same thing, because that paper will move through you and give you no calories, and your body will push it out the other end. But it's not very palatable. And you could argue that some of these vegetables are not very palatable either. But that's your job to make them palatable with some sort of seasoning or sauce that doesn't add calories. And that can be done with everything we have today. So the idea here is we're gonna keep on feeding vegetables all day long into the system. That's gonna keep it active, as opposed to not eating anything and shutting it all down. Those are extra calories that you're gonna burn every day, and it's gonna keep your metabolism running. It's gonna slow down a little bit when you diet, but this is a better choice. The second valuable thing about eating all this fibrous vegetables is that you're eating. Mentally, you're not eating. So mentally, if I don't eat anything because I don't want the calories, that's a restriction mentality. I'm restricted. I'm not getting what I want. I'm not getting what I need. On a diet where you eat copious amounts of vegetables, you don't get any calories. You don't get many calories, but you're always busy eating. You're always chewing. You're always swallowing. You always feel full. That feeling of fullness is very valuable on longer diets. It's valuable on any diet. I mean, who wants to feel empty all the time when you don't have to? And nobody has to. Nobody has to feel like they're being restricted. They're suffering This is one way to ease some of the suffering. It's more likely, if you don't feel like you're suffering so much, that you're going to stick to your diet and reach your goals. So those are some of the most important concepts. One, I physically elevate my metabolism and keep it up by eating vegetables as opposed to shutting my metabolism down. And two, I'm always eating, so mentally I've always got food to eat. I feel like I'm eating as opposed to not eating and starving. Three, I feel fuller. I have a more, it triggers satiety. The distension of the stomach and the feeling of fullness actually does have a real effect, a feedback loop on the desire to eat food. So those are three pretty good reasons to eat lots and lots and lots of vegetables. Now, how much? I told you I would tell you that, and so right here at the end I will. You start with 16 ounces, 1 pound every day. That's where you start. That's the beginning level. That's junior varsity. You work your way up to 3 pounds a day of broccoli and or cauliflower or anything you want to eat. I eat a lot of oriental vegetables, water chestnuts, bamboo shoots, snow pea pods, things like that. I like them. I don't care too much for broccoli, but it doesn't matter. Any of those kinds of things. A rule of thumb is that for 1 pound of the vegetable of your choice, the fibrous vegetable of your choice, it should be about 150 calories, give or take. Some of them are far less. Lettuce is way lower than that. Lettuce is almost like eating paper. But so I hope you see the value of this, and I hope on the next diet you partake of, or if you know somebody that's on a diet, you give this a try, because it has so many positives, and the only negative, and I'll be honest, the only negative it has is when you eat that much fiber, you poop a lot. There's a lot of pooping going on when you eat 3 pounds of vegetables a day. But that is a small price to pay. That's a small inconvenience to all those positive things. Keeping your metabolism elevated, feeling like you always have food to eat and you're not starving, feeling full all the time. I don't mind pooping a couple extra times a day, quite a few extra times really. I don't mind that though. That's a small price to pay for all those benefits, and that's the only down side I can think of. So that's a trick that I always used. I always took advantage of that on every diet, and I've been pretty successful dieting. So you can take it from me, or you could try it for yourself and prove it to yourself how good this is, and how foolish it would be not to do it. And I hope that you do that. So thank you for listening.